Yeah. Listen up. Yeah. I can see you're new to this. You ain't got no job. You ain't got no experience. You're entry level. You ain't got no qualifications, baby. You're entry level. You're entry level. You're entry level, baby. You're entry level. Ooh, yeah.
Thank you, LinkedIn, for supporting Entry Level. LinkedIn is an active community of professionals with more than 690 million members worldwide. When your business is ready to make that next hire, find the right person with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Brooks. More on that later in the episode. Big shout out today to Helix Sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz and they'll match you to a mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Find your perfect mattress at helixsleep.com/Brooks. Yo, welcome to this week's episode of Entry Level. I'm here in Los Feliz with Carl Hess.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me on, bro.
You're welcome. Carl and I are recording this early because we are leaving in the morning to camp.
Getting out of this stink town.
Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite, and we can't wait. Carl is interested if we can have fires up there or not. And I told Carl, probably not.
It's going to be cold at night. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, but the whole Northern California, it was just on fire.
That's true. That's true.
I bet that they're like, hey, how about we don't have
something to consider.
Two drunks who are going to just really get that blaze going. If you've never camped with Carl, just know that he becomes entranced by the fire.
That's the best part of camping. It's backwoods TV. You get drunk, and then what? You either look at the stars or you gaze into the fire and think about all your mistakes. That's what you do.
You I remember we went camping one time, you were on mushrooms, and you had come up with the idea that you had created the thing that melts glass. What were you calling it?
I don't remember.
It was like,
but I did melt a wine bottle at one point, and it was very cool.
There's a title of a thing that gets too hot it's like even the hottest part of the fire. You're like, this is not a kiln, but you're like, I've created a.
And I think I did.
No, you did. But what the fuck was it called?
I don't remember.
Podcasting.
I don't remember.
Oh God damn it! I'm gonna pause it and we're gonna look it up. Okay, after extensive research,
Brooks really tried.
I looked for like 5 minutes. I couldn't figure it out. We don't even know. I think it was a mushroom word that you said confidently that I was like, sure. Carl really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, as long as you say it confidently. It's like, of
you
course.
Were like, you were. It was a weird word. You're like, I've created a quandary, and I don't think that's a word. But I was like,
no, it's definitely not.
Yeah, but you were melting bottles in there.
I was melting bottles. It was great.
Yeah, it was very fun. And so I don't think they need that up in the tinder box that is the Eastern Sierra.
Probably not. We can do some stargazing.
But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be nice to get away from everything. Carl just came over. I finished my marathon training. One thing I will have to do during this camping trip, Carl, is run 11 miles.
I don't see how that's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I have to.
All right.
Guys, if you're listening to this because you're an Anthony Jeselnik fan, know that I am training for a marathon sponsored by Asics right now. You can follow my training.
All right, but here's the thing.
I'll put a link in this episode description.
You didn't train at all for the last marathon, and you ran a hungover, and you did a pretty good job.
Yes, but
you don't have to train that much.
Yes, but I'm trying to run under 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Ooh,
that's hard.
That's going to be really
hard.
That's
a decently fast marathon.
Okay, well then I'll be like your trainer. I'll be like, I'll have a stopwatch. I'm
already doing it. It's on Runkeeper.
I'll be next to you in the car.
Yeah. Well, I'll
drive behind you,
dude. And if you don't know, Tuolumne is at like 7,000 feet. So I got to run 11.
Training, baby.
I got to run 11 miles in altitude.
That's the way to do it.
Probably hungover because we don't chill when we camp.
Right.
And then we're gonna hike to the. Then after the 11-mile run, you and I are going on like a 15-mile hike to the Cathedral
That's
Lakes.
going to be a long day for you.
It's gonna be incredible. I'm gonna come back lean and mean.
You are. You look good. I'll say that.
That's very nice of you, Carl. It's because I'm training for this goddamn marathon. Thank you, Asics. They're paying me to get in shape. Also, speaking of marathons, I love documentaries. If you don't know about this documentary, the Barkley Marathons, check it out. Right, Carl?
Very intense. Very interesting. The type of the type of people who engage in like hardcore adventure races, there's some characters.
They're characters.
You gotta have something wrong with your
Barkley
brain.
Marathons is on Amazon Prime. It's very good. It's I watched it. It was very fun. It got a drunk Carl's attention, which is very hard to do.
I like it.
Speaking of buffoonery and things that we're upset about, Christie's still alive. He's
apparently just full recovery.
Full recovery.
I feel like I've lost some respect for, like, obviously it's a deadly virus. It's killed hundreds of thousands of people in the country.
John Prine.
Killed John Prine. Well, John Prine's been very sick for a long time.
Yeah,
but yes, it did kill John Prine. R.I.P. to the God. But, like, after Trump and Christie just walk away, I feel like I've lost a little respect for the virus. Trump is one thing. They pumped him full of crazy experimental drugs. Christie is 400 pounds and he has asthma. This man just fucking casually walked out of the hospital like, come on, virus.
And we know
give us one.
We know that they're getting better treatment than literally anyone else in the world is getting.
Steroids.
And it is bullshit. But you're telling me COVID can't take down Christie's overweight piece of shit ass? That guy could be
I got my hopes up,
health.
and that's why I'm mad, because I think I got my hopes up a little bit. Like one of these assholes will die. No one. Not a one
bad guy has died from COVID.
It's awful.
And it's annoying.
Yeah.
Carl and I were talking the other day. Herman Cain, he doesn't even count as a bad guy.
Herman Cain's just some dumb guy.
Herman Cain was...
We need like an actively evil motherfucker to die.
Herman Cain was a fucking pizza dude.
He was a pizza man who got in over his head.
I can just run for president? That's an American. I have no problem with Herman Cain.
He's just a pizza man who got in over his head.
Trump gave him COVID.
Trump straight up probably coughed on it.
Oh, God damn it, Herman Cain.
Man.
He can't be our only one. Now, I got a problem. I'm from Iowa. I love wrestling. Goddamn, Dan Gable is out there calling Donald Trump a champion, like campaigning for him pretty much. Dan Gable, if you aren't familiar, is like the greatest Iowan of all time.
You're the second most famous Iowan. He's the first.
No, I'm not. I would say I'm top 100.
Who's after Gable?
Ashton Kutcher's probably more famous than him.
Yeah, he doesn't like rep Iowa though.
Right. No, Dan Gable is the definition of Iowa. It'd be like if a fucking potato got up at an Idaho rally and said,
was like, Trump's pretty good.
This is a champion. It was so frustrating to see Dan Gable do that. And it's just like...
Is he on Twitter?
Yeah, he
is.
You should
start a Twitter beef with him.
I don't want to because I respect him. He's like, why I love wrestling.
Well, you don't respect him anymore. That's why you should start the beef.
You're
like, damn, I lost respect for you, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm a Bobby Douglas fan now. Shout out to Bobby Douglas, the head coach of Iowa State while I was growing up. Dan Gable's the head coach of Iowa while I was growing up. It's just so annoying. Also, Trump is giving Dan Gable the Presidential Medal of Freedom just so he can get Gable to come out and support him in the middle of an election.
It's a good PR move on Trump's part.
It's a great PR move.
Yeah.
If you're like, Danny Gable's doing this, I love Dan Gable.
Yeah.
Like, this is real. Like, they tried to get Dan Gable to run for governor of Iowa. Like,
of course.
Honestly.
Of course.
And he was like, no, I'm already the king of Iowa.
I don't want to do work.
No, he's the king. That would be like taking a step down. Dan Gable is Iowa.
I think that's the right attitude for rich and famous people to have getting into politics. It's like, you don't need to do this. No. Just go live on an island somewhere.
It's so frustrating. You got to separate the artist from the art. Yeah. I understand that. And I love Dan Gable, but this was tough.
That's hard.
This is a hard day for me.
Childhood hero, yeah.
It's a hard day.
That's rough.
You're breaking my heart, Dan. He's a big listener. Do you want to, and speaking of dumb batshit stuff, besides my childhood hero calling the biggest asshole in the world a champion, will you read what Donald said?
Okay, so
verbatim?
For a while, I feel like Trump wasn't as funny as he like initially was, and it was like, oh, because everything's shitty. He kind of lost his swagger. Mm-hmm. But now I think coming out of the hospital, he's so jacked up on steroids that like Trump's back, baby. Like he's at rally, dude. He was at the rally. He was like, "I feel so good. I'll kiss everybody.
Yes, he said,
I'll kiss everybody. I'll kiss the men. I'll kiss the beautiful women." He is
back.
like
Trump's
back. He's doing some real funny shit. I think one of his best lines was recently where he was like talking about how he got COVID, and he was saying it was like, "You're at the campaign, and these law enforcement and soldier guys, they see you." And they just come up to you. They want to kiss you. He said he got COVID because soldiers and cops want to kiss him.
Oh my God! Incredible.
I mean, that's like top 5 Trump lines,
dude. Also, okay, and before you read what you're gonna read, I watched the Dan Gable thing, and you could see Dan Gable realizing he's like, oh no, because he's on. He's like, hey, like let me bring up Danny Gable. Everyone's fucking going bananas. Dan Gable, and Gable comes up, and then thinking like he's going to give a speech.
Oh, is he with Trump?
He was at this rally because Trump was in Iowa. And then Trump starts wheeling, just, going on some tirade. He's like, they say you're great, blah, 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 blah. And then you see Gable just being a little like,
what have I done?
Fuck.
What have I done?
This guy's bad.
You just got to go. You got to push through
This guy's
it.
bananas. Then Trump goes, you won, you were a coach at Iowa. How many championships did you win? And then Gable was like, 15. And you could see Trump realize he thought it would be more. He's like, 15, huh?
Trump knows nothing about wrestling.
No, he doesn't.
Obviously.
But he's like 15, huh? And then he's like, and then Trump has to talk himself back into and he's like,
That's a lot.
They said you were good at wrestling too, huh?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just
Grim.
if you watch the video, you can see Gable is a little like, oh God.
That's grim.
Yeah. Okay. So read what
we got a new. This is a really good quote. And this seems like if someone did this as like a Trump impression, you would think that it would be like this seems like someone making fun of Trump.
Right.
He's talking about Barron getting coronavirus. My tall Barron. He's very tall. My beautiful Barron, handsome. He is handsome, but my beautiful Barron had it. He recovered so fast. I said, wait a minute, how long did that take? Come on. Trump is on one right now.
Handsome. He is handsome.
And also, my Trump impression's bad, but you get the idea.
It's incredible.
They gave him just 6 days straight of crazy steroids, and I think he's just high as a fucking kite.
Oh man, you know what sucks is we're recording this the night that they're having the town hall debates, and I'm not going to watch either of them.
Definitely not going to watch.
And the annoying part is, if I was going to watch one, I'm not going to watch the coherent guy who is going to be like, hey, look, man, we got to go. We got to fight. We got to win. I'm going to watch the guy,
of course,
who
Trump, mega Trump, steroid Trump. That's what you want to watch.
I'm watching the guy. I'm watching the Harlem Globetrotters.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm watching some tricks. He's going to bring a T-shirt cannon,
At this point, that's the thing. I think Trump really knows that he's the polls look really bad.
Oh,
he knows he fucked up. He got corona. He looked like an idiot. So those videos he cut where he was on the White House lawn, but it was obviously a green screen. He's just throwing shit. He's promising seniors he'll give them free drugs. He'll do anything.
Dude,
he knows that it's down to the wire.
The green screen Trump, which if you don't know,
it's
shot
an infomercial.
He shot a thing where he's in front of a green screen.
It's so funny.
And
Trump's funny again. At least we have that.
The only the best take I saw on the green screen was someone tweeted, the only conspiracy theory is that this wasn't a green screen.
Right, exactly. There's a loop in the background of the trees.
Okay, so wait, Carl, I got some cave news before we get to listener mail.
Let's jump in.
Guys, this podcast has turned into some investigative reporting, and I do have to give proper credit. Hold on, I have to give proper credit.
Hard hitting.
Because
investigative journalism.
This was given to me by, and shout out to this listener who follows on Instagram. Her name is Crack Rocks with a Z.
Okay.
So shout out to Crack Rocks, who is a listener, and I really appreciate.
I'm gonna hope that's a geological thing and not a hobby.
Yeah.
thing.
No, me too. Me too. I hope this doesn't.
No shade though. Shout out to Hunter Biden.
Yeah. Wait, we got to talk about you went to prom with his cousin.
I did.
With Joe Biden's niece. Okay. But Crack Rocks, follow her on Instagram. She sent me a little fucking inside dirt on what's going on over at the cave.
I love it.
By the way, I found out, I looked it up. The Crystal
COVID
Lake
hotspot.
Crystal Lake Cave did not close for 1 second.
That's insane.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not.
That's nuts.
But there were reviews going up all summer about it.
There's no ventilation in that cave.
There's a cave, Jerry. Okay, so
air.
This is from Edward Joseph. This is from 2 months ago. This is a review on Google about Crystal Lake Cave, and I'm trying to. If anybody knows how you can get a hold of a reviewer from Google reviews, who's only left one review.
Find this man.
I've tried to figure out how to email him. I want to interview him. This was his review of Crystal Lake Cave. One review, Edward Joseph. I beg you all to never visit this place. If you knew what I know about its owner, its past, and future, you would never consider visiting this place again or ever.
Comes out swinging.
Feel free to write me for more specific details.
Oh my God.
He says that.
He teased it though. He doesn't even go into it.
This guy knows dirt. I want the dirt.
Yeah.
I want the dirt on the cave.
Can you comment on a comment?
No, you can't. I tried, man. I'm like, dude, I need to get a hold of you, Edward Joseph.
He probably lives in Iowa.
Yes.
We can find him.
Look, if anyone knows Edward Joseph how we can get to the bottom of this Crystal Lake Cave deep state.
We need. He really teased. He didn't even drop any.
If you knew what I knew about its owner,
mysterious.
Its past and its future, you would never consider going. That's weird.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
He's got inside knowledge.
Who did I work for? I want to know what I was part of.
You were part of it.
I was part of something. So shout out to Crack Rocks for listening and sending me the dirt over on Instagram. Follow Entry Level with Brooks Wheelan on Instagram. But let's get to this week's listener mail. And then, Carl, you and I got to get to the fucking mountains. This comes from Bob Bradshaw. And he goes, hey, man, no Carney story. Sorry. I'm trying to get Carney stories.
Yeah, I love Carney stories.
No Carneys listen.
They're really the only. Of course they don't.
Carneys don't listen to the podcast.
They're out there living their Carney lifestyle. They don't have time for podcasts.
So frustrating. I wish this was a Carney podcast. No Carney story. Sorry, it's fine, Bob. But I did almost, and I saved this one for you, Carl. This is an interesting one because it's about guns and banks.
I like it.
But I did almost get shot by a coworker at an old job. I used to work for Wells Fargo, loading armored trucks with coins for their routes the next day. To get to the building, you would have to buzz in the guy manning the door would let you in.
Right.
Problem was, he was usually in the bathroom jerking off to such magazines as, I'm not even insane. Like, I have no problem swearing, but these are insane.
Is it like slit? Is like slit involved? Like wet slit? I don't even feel comfortable saying that.
No, exactly. Yeah,
I just gross myself out.
This is an.
Give us one.
This is 100 cum shots is one of them.
That's a magazine.
He says seriously, these are magazines, and there's other ones. He said
101 cum shots.
So he said, and I could be standing outside for 20 minutes waiting for this guy to finish. So for the job, I'd have to go outside, grab a truck, drive it through huge garage doors and into the building so I could load it. When the doors were open, an armed guard would have to stand outside the door with his gun drawn in case anyone tried to enter
rush the door.
Yes. There were literally millions of dollars in that place. Yeah, this all adds up. So one night, I go out to grab a truck and realize, fuck, I forgot the keys. I knew the garage door was open. So instead of waiting 20 minutes for Jerky McJerkoff to let me in, I figured I'd just go through the garage door. It was on the other side of the building, so I start jogging towards it. Oh, it's midnight and pitch black, by the way. I come running around the corner and out of the dark towards the guard. I scare the shit out of him. He raises his gun at me and yells, "Freeze, motherfucker!"
That's actually a pretty cool thing to say.
Yeah.
It's cool that he had the peace of mind in the moment to actually say, "Freeze, motherfucker."
Yeah,
we all think we'd say that, but like you might say something stupid.
No, exactly. Like, but please don't.
Freeze, motherfucker.
Please no. I mean, if this guy was a real cop, he would have just started shooting.
Oh, he would have lit him up. He wouldn't even said anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he yells, "Freeze, motherfucker." I raise my hands. He realizes who I am and says, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Now, Bob is the one who doesn't think right here. He goes, "I take a second to think about it." And I just said, "I don't know."
Just being honest.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Look, it's late.
I don't know. I goofed. I ran at you. He replies, "You're a fucking idiot. That's what." So
I like this other guy.
This security guard's incredible. Yeah. And he said, after that, I always waited for the masturbating door guy, who, looking at it now, was a pretty good puttier.
Okay.
So yeah, great story, Bob.
Yeah. I'm just glad you're okay.
Yeah.
And now we know when to strike in our armored car heist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we're getting a little inside scoop. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So just one guy, huh?
One guy.
Millions of dollars.
Wait until he goes into the bathroom with 100 cum shots. Then.
Also, we did have Jack. He wrote in an email. He said he wasn't sure if he was a carny. He worked at a county fair.
He wasn't sure if he was a carny.
He wasn't, is what I'm saying.
If you're a carny, you fucking know you're a carny.
That's what I'm saying, Jack. You're not a carny. Right. You worked at a county fair.
You were carny curious at most.
Yes. So, Jack, you weren't a carny. I'm sorry. You just worked at a county fair.
Yeah.
Judge Eaton.
Yeah.
But
you were a weekend warrior, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It was a California county fair, which lasted a month. So he's a month-long warrior.
Okay.
So shout out to Jack, not a carny. I'm sorry. Carnies, I'm waiting for your emails. You guys are being assholes out there.
Oh, God. Imagine the stories.
With all that being said, Carl, listen to Carl's podcast, yelling about pate. It's very fun.
Talk about food. Talk about funny stories.
Yeah.
No carny content. I just want to say that right off the bat. I wish there was. Now I want to start a separate carny cast with you.
We need a carny. We got to do we should do a carny Patreon.
An oral history, traveling the country.
We'll take.
We're like Alan Lomax out there getting the stories of American heartland.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take the podcast equipment, up into the mountains.
Ooh.
And we're going to podcast from around the fire.
I like that.
And that's Patreon only content.
Exclusive content.
That's exclusive Patreon
Now we're
content.
fucking talking.
Yeah, there we go. I'll put an ad if you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon and support the show. That'd be very nice. If you don't want to do that, that's also totally cool because, another way you can support is you can go buy a mug. The mugs are for sale.
Merch, baby.
This week, we have this is already an incredible intro, if I might say so myself.
I feel pretty good about it.
But we have an even better interview coming up with Anthony Jeselnik, who, if you aren't familiar with, you don't know comedy. He's great.
He is great.
We talk about the history of the fucking roasts and how he got out at the right time.
Smart.
And how he rules. And he's I don't know, man. I didn't know Anthony that well going into this, and after this, I feel like I know him pretty well. And he's fucking rad, and he was super cool to do this podcast. And I'm a huge fan of his, and it's cool. And I appreciate when cool people that I grew up watching on television do my podcast. So thanks, Anthony. You're gonna love this interview. Enjoy it. Carl and I are going to enjoy the great north of I don't know. I guess it's mid California,
the Eastern Sierra.
Yeah, I know. I said almost the Great White North, but that's Canada.
No, yeah, it's not Great White.
Well,
we'll enjoy it nonetheless.
Not all podcast intros can
you jinxed it by saying that this was an amazing intro.
Shine bright till the end.
You jinxed it at the end.
We fizzled out. We were the coronavirus to Chris Christie towards the end of this podcast.
High expectations and no follow through.
Enjoy, Anthony Jeselnik. Hey, everybody. This week's episode is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Look, guys, I hurt my back. I'm not going to lie to you about it. I'm 34. I camped outside for the last 2 weeks. I slept on the dirt, and my spine didn't like it. Turns out my old bed is not fixing it. Helix Sleep is sending me a mattress, and I cannot wait. I've read about it. It looks great. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to a perfect mattress just for you. Everybody's unique, and Helix knows that, so they have several different mattress models to choose from. They have soft, medium, and firm mattresses. Mattresses is great for cooling you down if you sleep hot, and even Helix Plus mattresses for plus-size folks. I took the Helix quiz. I went over there. It's very easy, 2 minutes, and I got matched up with the Midnight Lux mattress because I wanted something that felt like a medium firm. I don't want to really fall in, but that's just me. Like a medium firm, and I sleep. It asks if you sleep on your back or your side or your stomach, but then it also has a do you move around all night for people who panic in their sleep like I do, and I do. I move around all night, so I got a medium firm, move around all night type mattress called the Midnight Lux, and I cannot wait for it to get here. I got a king size. I've been rocking a queen size my whole life. I'm moving up. It's exciting. Now me and Gabs and our maniac psycho cat Moo, who sleeps in our bed, will have some room to kind of, spread out a little bit. So if you're looking for a mattress, you take the quiz, you order the mattress that you've been matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You never ever need to go to a mattress store again. Have you been to a mattress store? Filled with weirdos, creeps, trying to sell you mattresses. There's weird people. Then you got to lay down in front of people. I don't like it. And guess what? Helix is awesome. Okay. But you don't need to take my word for it. All right. You don't need to take the entry level word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. I've heard of both of those. I read them at the airport. Those are good magazines. Just go to helixsleep.com/Brooks. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you with a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. And they have a 10-year warranty, and you get to, so guess what? You know what that means? You know what 10 years means? It means you get to try it out for a few hundred nights, risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for the listeners of entry level at helixsleep.com/Brooks. They're supporting the podcast. If you need a mattress, support them. helixsleep.com/Brooks. Small businesses have unique needs, and despite the current uncertainty, one thing that remains unchanged is the importance of having the right people on your team. When your business is ready to make that next hire, LinkedIn Jobs can help by matching your role with qualified candidates so that you can find the right person quickly. Unlike Every person I've ever interviewed on this show, you want to hire an actual good worker. LinkedIn is an active community of professionals with more than 690 million members worldwide. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and soft skills that you're looking for and puts your job post in front of qualified members every day so that's seen by people looking for jobs like yours. That's how LinkedIn Jobs can help you hire the right person faster. When your business is ready to make that next hire, find the right person with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Brooks. Again, that's linkedin.com/Brooks to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions apply. And if you want to just click a link, there's a link in this episode description. Check it out. Hire the people that are qualified. It's perfect. Don't hire the people I interview. Thank you, LinkedIn. Click this episode description. Check it out.
All right. Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Entry Level. I'm here with Anthony Jeselnik. Anthony, second Zoom call ever, you said.
Yes. I try to avoid these as much as I can, but
yeah,
you got to do it. You got to do it.
I mean, I appreciate you doing it. How did you get away with not doing them? You're just like, no, thank you.
I just didn't have any business I had to do. I haven't had a pitch or anything that I've got to get into Zoom. I've avoided Zoom cocktail hours. Mm-hmm. Like they had a billionaire's son asked me to do his birthday party over Zoom, and I dropped in for 10 minutes. It was the longest 10 minutes of my life. I was like, get me out of here.
Yeah, I did one Zoom comedy show. This is how long ago it was. I talked about the Tiger King. That's how fucking long ago. And after that, I was like, I retired from online comedy. I'm going to wait till we get to do it again.
I can't imagine. Do you remember that show they used to do called 7 Minutes in Purgatory? And you would
no.
You would do stand-up in like a soundproof booth in another room, and the audience would watch you on a screen.
Yes,
and it sounded like my worst nightmare.
They did it at some festival. Like it was happening at a festival that I was at, and I was doing it was like a Houston festival that I was like doing a set at, and they're like, "Do you also want to do a nightmare?" And I was
that's how they always get you. They're like, "Hey, you want to come have fun on this weird show?" And it's no.
No, man. Yes, it was out. So it was outdoors, and you were in a soundproof booth, dude. That's what Zoom comedy is. It's that show.
It sounds like just bombing, bombing, and everyone gets to watch a close up of you. It's terrible.
Yeah. Do you want to watch a comic have an existential crisis? Is what it should be.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, you have a new podcast. We'll promote it at the end, but this isn't about that shit. This is, also I have a good story, an introduction of how I've never told you, but, so I grew up in the Midwest and I was living in Chicago, and me and another comic, CJ Toledano, would buy tickets to go watch people we liked at the Schaumburg Improv. Right. Mm-hmm. And we went to see Doug Benson, unbeknownst to us. Cool leather jacket comic coming on, like being so funny, like when you're new at comedy and you're like more interested in the features because you're like, that seems attainable, you were like the first comic that we were like, that guy rules. He's so fucking rad. And then like a week later, you were calling Roseanne like a cunt on Comedy Central or something. Like, we know that guy.
That's so funny because opening for Doug Benson, it was a hit or miss with his audience. It was like best week ever, people coming to see pot jokes and me talking about dead babies, that people were furious.
Yes. I think what we liked about you so much in that show was we loved comedy, and you were hitting us in a way that wasn't hitting everybody else.
Yeah. I think it's more fun to see me around a crowd that's not into it because you can enjoy it more.
Yeah, we were just like, this guy's incredible. And like that table over there is like, well, the best week ever guy is coming, right?
That's so funny because I know CJ. I was at his fucking wedding and he didn't tell me that story.
Yeah, me and him sat. We paid, full price. Had to fucking 2-drink minimum. Yeah, did it all.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, because it's just so fun. Like, when you're starting and then you see somebody and then they're on television, it's just like, whoa, it's so.
Yeah. It's like, I can do this too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't feel that at that moment, but I was like, I feel like I could tell a guy I saw him before he, yelled at a lady. But okay. Anthony Jeselnik, where are you from though? And what was your first job before all this?
I am from Pittsburgh originally, and my family's still from there or still lives there. And my first job ever, I believe, was teaching swimming lessons.
Okay. Really?
I was on the swim team for a couple of years, and they were like, if you want extra money, you can like come to the pool on weekends or go to this YMCA and teach kids how to swim. And I did it for like 3 months, and they realized quickly that it was like kids from like 4 years old to 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And they realized only give me the 12-year-olds, because I had to teach a 4-year-old. And the big thing is like putting their head underwater, and he couldn't do it. So I just dunked him, and he came up crying his eyes out. The mother pulled him out of the pool. They were like, I can't believe how bad you are at this. But I was good with like the older kids. I did it for a few months.
Okay. So also Pittsburgh is like a low key, cool town. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
when you're a kid, like it seems like a huge metropolis because you've got sports teams and things to do. Mm-hmm. When you get older, you find out it's just a fun bar town.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good kind of like low key, great restaurants, great bars. It's a cool place.
Yeah. And it's all packed in kind of like Manhattan a little bit. And like all the towns, I mean, all the houses, like, I feel like were built so janky, but like cool and unique. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it depends on the neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah. Some places are like really, really well built, and some places, janky. Janky is the word.
Yeah. It was like, it looked like Harry Potter, like wizard houses where it's like, these floors don't connect. What is happening? Yes. So you grow up there and like in the era of are the Steelers good? Are you a sport like?
I was into them. We almost got to the Super Bowl a couple times, but we didn't win it until I didn't see it in my lifetime until after I left college. So it was like close, like heartbreakers in like the AFC Championship game. You know, that were tough. I think we actually made it to the Super Bowl and lost to the Cowboys, but it was like the first time in 10 years the AFC didn't even come close to beating the NFC. So we were kind of proud of that.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's great. And also Primanti Brothers is there, right? I've interviewed JC Kokoli, who is from there, and she like worked at like the old school sandwich shop.
Really?
Do you feel ownership about that sandwich shop at all or no?
I would, except I asked, or my manager asked to put me up on the wall of like famous people from Pittsburgh they have. It's like Michael Keaton, like all these different Pittsburgh celebrities. Yeah. And they said no. They said no. Like Jimmy Miller, Dennis Miller's brother, called them and was like, do me a favor. And they said no. Dude, so yeah, I eat it sometimes, but I'm not like, that's my place.
Yes, no, fuck them. Oh man, that's like something my mom would do. My mom would like ask the place in Iowa, like, do you want a photo of this guy? And they'd be like, who's that guy? Like, that?
Yeah, why would we do that?
Yeah, you're like, I didn't ask. Fuck. Oh, that's incredible. That is too funny. Okay, so you grow up, you're good at swimming. Swimming sounds like it was your thing.
No, lacrosse was my thing, but you couldn't play lacrosse until high school. So I swam, and then like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then jumped to lacrosse. Okay,
lacrosse seemed awesome because like in Iowa we didn't, it just didn't exist. But I was like, that seems like a fun. That seems fun. But why can't we do it? And they're like, I don't know.
It was fun. It was kind of expensive because it was like a club sport. The school wouldn't pay for it. And in Western Pennsylvania, they're all about football. So lacrosse got all the outcasts. You know, the kids like didn't want to play football and weren't a part of that, got to play lacrosse.
Right.
So we were treated poorly by the school and not respected at all. Ooh. Nobody was that good because it was Western Pennsylvania. That was more like a Maryland sport. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Western Pennsylvania is good at wrestling. You guys have really good wrestling. Like I grew up wrestling, and like a lot of like Pitt is good at wrestling. And like, I don't know, it's just like, you know, like it's a tough part of the country. Like it's not a chill area to grow up in.
No, very blue collar, very like working hard is its own reward sort of thing. Yeah, a lot of my friends run the wrestling team.
Yeah, when you're 4, a guy's dunking you if you're scared.
Yeah, toughen up, kid, real quick.
Yeah, get tough. Yeah. Okay, so you're teaching 12-year-olds, but that's only a few months. Where do you go after that? Like, were you like 14 or 15 doing that just for some money?
Yeah, I was like 14, 15. I remember I couldn't drive. My dad would pick me up, and half the time he would pick me up, he would have found something, like some contraband. Like I remember he'd pull up and like throw like a thing of tobacco at me, like chewing tobacco, and be like, "We found this in your bed." And I'm like, "Oh!" Like every time, those are like my memories of like going to work and being like, "This is cool" for a couple hours, and then knowing I was gonna get picked up and grounded on the way home. But I did that for I did that for like 6 months, and then I went and I worked. There was like one mall near my house that we walked to, and I got a job at like kind of a Rite Aid, but it was called Revco. I don't know if you ever remember seeing a Revco.
I've never heard of Revco.
Pittsburgh thing. It was just like Rite Aid, and I just sat there and like sold underage kids cigarettes all day, and like had to stock. It was all old ladies and me, so I had to do all the manual labor, even though I made way less than they did, and it was terrible. But I didn't know enough to leave.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fun. But did your buds know, like, when, okay, Anthony's working, we should go score SIGs now?
No, it wasn't cool to like go visit your friend working at like the pharmacy in the mall. You know what I mean? Like they would just kind of like laugh at me if they walked by. You know, that mall was not a cool place to work because you would see people you knew, and that was always embarrassing.
Yeah, well, okay, that's no fun. I worked in a mall. I didn't mind it. I just had to wear like the khakis and like a polo. It's not like
yeah, I had to do that because my job after Rite Aid or Revco was KB Toy Store, which was just across the mall, in the same mall, just across. And I was like, this could be fun.
Okay, time out. I'm going to pitch you how you felt KB Toy Store would be.
Great.
I'm going to be playing with toys all the time. I'm going to be bringing joy to kids. I'm going to be getting all the toys before they come out, getting to look at them. And then it's a goddamn nightmare.
Honestly, I wasn't that hopeful going in. I was like, this will be easy.
Oh,
this will be easier than like sitting at Rite Aid. And it was kind of a little bit. I worked there for like 4 or 5 months. And then we got the Christmas season when you slammed. I had employees on the floor all day long. 6 a.m, people were lined up outside to get Tickle Me Elmo.
Was that you were there for Tickle Me Elmo?
I was there for Tickle Me Elmo and all that madness where every year there's always like 1 or 2 toys that are big.
Right, but Tickle Me Elmo is like huge. The pinnacle of the toys that they talk about. Today they're like, what will be this year's Tickle Me Elmo?
It was like the first one where people would like buy it and then raffle it off for like a ton of money. People were like just buying them in bulk.
Yeah.
My favorite was Christmas Barbie. All right. Every year they put out a Christmas Barbie and we would get a box of them. And there would be 11 white blonde Christmas Barbies and 1 African-American Christmas Barbie.
Okay.
So and we're in a very white area. They're all flying off the shelves. And so we just had this huge stack of African-American Christmas Barbies.
Right.
And I worked at the register with an African-American woman, and we had the best time. People would call us from as far as West Virginia and be like, we really want Christmas Barbie. Do you have it? And we're like, yeah, we've got a ton of them. And they're like, are you sure? Can we put one on hold? I'm like, we're sorry, but we've got so many. And then an hour later, someone would come up and be like, where's the Christmas Barbie? And we'd hand them the African-American one, and they go, oh. And my coworker would always go, what's wrong with that one?
Yeah.
And then they were like, my daughter already has this one. And they would leave, and we would laugh ourselves to the ground every day. I love that.
That's incredible. That's very enjoyable. Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, we can't get rid of these freaking things.
Yeah, we've got so many. Like, I'm so glad you called. Help us out. Just drive 3 hours. We're good.
KB Toy Store was such like an exciting for me. Like when we would get to go to the mall, because I lived like an hour from the mall. I would be like, however long we're here, don't worry. I'm going to be in KB Toy Store.
Yeah, it was a great place.
Yeah.
Great place. Lots of shoplifting. And just
really? Are you catching kids shoplifting, or you are shoplifting?
If you saw them, you couldn't do anything about it. And you're not going to like chase down a 12-year-old who stole like a bouncy ball, you know? So we just didn't care.
That's true. You're not supposed to like chase. They're just like, hey, just report it later or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a legal thing.
Incredible. Okay. Do you see any fights about this Tickle Me Elmo? I mean, like, dude, you were in a hurricane. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah, people were not cool about Tickle Me Elmo. They were like very serious about getting one. I think as an employee, we were allowed to take one of them and like buy it ourselves. I gave it to my niece that year. Yeah. But people were mad about that. It was very like a competitive Christmas. And I remember my friend and I worked there together, and we just lost our minds very early on that we decided that no matter what a customer asked us, we would just walk them to a thing called Cool Shaven Ken. It was a Ken. It was like from Ken and Barbie. And it was like a Ken that shaved, and we would just point at that and then walk away, no matter what they said. And so we had fun doing that. So once Christmas was over, I had to quit that job. That might be the only job I've ever quit.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, so wait. No matter what they asked for, you would be like, you're talking about Cool Shaving Ken.
Yeah, I would say right this way. They'd be like, do you have a Luke Skywalker with the detachable hands? And I'd be like, right this way. Here's Cool Shaven Ken, and just walk off. And no one ever challenged us or complained. I think it was just so crazy in there. They had to deal with us no matter what.
Yeah. Oh man, that's dope. So after Christmas, you're like, no more. I can't hear anymore.
It was too boring. No, it was like, it went from like every day was slammed, and it was just like your day flew by to just so bored. So bored. And half the employees left because Christmas was over. And I just said, I don't want to do this anymore.
All right. Okay. That's the only job you've quit.
Yes. Actually, there have been a couple others maybe that just ended, but I usually get fired after about 3 months.
Yeah. For me, I've had like professional jobs, and it takes 2 years before they they call you in and say, walk us through your day. And I'm just like, oh no.
I've never gotten that. I always get, you're a problem. Like, Anthony, you've become a problem. But it's so clear that I shouldn't be there, that I never argue. It's just embarrassing to get fired. But it's like, you've noticed that I have checked out mentally months ago. You know?
Okay, let's get. I was checked out in the interview, man. I can't believe you took it. Like, sometimes I'm like, I can't believe it took you this long. This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so where do you head? You're still in Pittsburgh. Where do you head after KB?
After KB, I think I was done in Upper St. Clair. Actually, no, I sold Cutco knives.
Oh, shit.
For like a month that summer before I went to college.
You know who else sold Cutco knives is Chris Fairbanks. Do you know him?
I of course, yeah. I did not know he sold Cutco.
He sold.
That's not something that I like. I think I have one of them still. I have one Cutco knife. I have like the sandwich spreader thing that I liked. But my girlfriend at the time, from senior year of high school, that summer got into Cutco and like made a ton of money. And I was like, oh, maybe I should do this too. What I didn't realize was that Cutco's just selling to your friends and family. Yeah. But by the time I got my knives and was ready to go out, my girlfriend had already talked to everyone. She had sold to my own mother that no one wanted to buy from me. And I was like, oh, this is a scam. Yeah. And that was it. That was my summer before I went to college.
Just walking around being like, she beat me here.
Yeah. I'd be like, can I just cut the penny in half for you with the scissors? And they'd be like, oh, I'll take a pair of scissors. Fine. And then when I quit, everyone who bought scissors was mad because they thought they had supported my journey, and I just gave up.
Oh yeah, they were like, dude, we really got behind you with your Cutco dreams.
Yeah, they're like, but we bought those scissors. I'm like, use them, they're great, but I can't do this anymore. I'm terrible at it.
Send them back; they'll sharpen them just whenever you need. Yeah, they're incredible.
It was such a scam. I remember at Cutco one day there was one guy in my graduating Cutco class who was cool, and one day he's like, this is bullshit, right? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, I'm a drug dealer. I'm doing this so I can tell my parents that's how I make my money. And I was like, oh, you're the smartest one here.
Yes. Oh man.
That's the way. Just have a thing of Cutco knives in your back, in your trunk. You tell your parents you're going out to do that.
Yeah. Oh shit. What is it? 3? These knives.
Yeah. I got an appointment. This guy works nights and I gotta go down there.
I gotta go cut a penny for this guy. Okay. Yeah. So you do that. You don't make anybody. Do you go to college after this?
Yes. I went to college in New Orleans.
What? Did you go to Tulane or something?
Yeah, I went to Tulane.
Okay.
And that was the most insane 4 years of my life.
Yeah, I wanted to go there because they have a good engineering school. But if I stayed in state and went to the University of Iowa, I would have money later.
Yes.
It was, and also, first day of school for me at Tulane, which was Iowa or Tulane, was Katrina. So I was like, I'm glad I went.
That's funny because my brother transferred to Tulane the year after that. He went to Arizona State and then transferred. And I told him the only way you can get into Tulane is that because of a natural disaster. And that's what happened. He got in because of that.
Incredible. Dude, Tulane seems so fucking rad. But to be able to go to college in New Orleans, I don't think I would have made it.
I don't know how I did. Everyone was surprised at graduation. It was just so expensive that you had to get out in 4 years. Yeah. I have friends who went to UCLA and they all take 5 or 6, 7 years to graduate because no matter who you are, after 3 years, you're a resident of the state and your tuition plummets. So you're paying $2,000 a year. Why not take 6 years to finish college? But Tulane, you had to get the hell out.
Yeah. It's right there. So you go down, you go from Pittsburgh, which is a hard drinking town. So I'm sure you drank in high school too.
Yeah, but I never went to bars. So I drank in a backyard with somebody in high school.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And in New Orleans, it was 18 to get in a bar. I just thought that's the way it was. That the bars don't close. That's the way it is. Yeah. And on my 21st birthday, I went to a bar in Pittsburgh for the first time ever. And I lined up 21 shots at midnight, thinking I had 4 hours, 5 hours to finish these. And they said, no, you've got an hour and a half. And I ended up throwing up all over a multi-light up dance floor. Yeah. And having my friends get me out of there. It was bad news. And I just didn't know how bars worked. No. When I moved to LA, I refused to go out. Because I was I don't know what last call is. I don't know. Why do I have to drive all this way, drink one beer for $8? I had no money, and then drive all the way home. This sucks. Dude. So Tulane kind of saved my life. It was so crazy.
Yes. I mean, dude, I couldn't I didn't handle Iowa City that well because it's a college town. You went to America's college town, New Orleans.
Yeah, it was like there weren't like parties on campus. You went out to bars. So you were partying with like the city and not just like a fraternity in a house. So I think maybe that would have helped because it's like you got to pay for drinks as opposed to just sitting around a keg all night. I don't know if I would have made it, but I pulled off Tulane.
Dude, awesome. So what did you study at Tulane? Like what, because New Orleans isn't, you know what else sucks about New Orleans is like, I've only done stand-up there once. I want there to be more stand-up in New Orleans. It's not really.
They've got a little scene kind of coming up now. The thing about New Orleans, it's kind of like Miami, and they don't care about comedy because they don't need it. They love their food and their music and their drinks, and they're funny. So they don't really care. There'll never be a comedy club in New Orleans. The comedy club in Miami is terrible because they just have too much going on. Yeah. I would love to go back. Like I performed at Tulane. I went back like a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, this is my triumphant return. Like I remember seeing Norm Macdonald here and like all these different comics here, Dave Chappelle. I can't wait to be one of those guys. And Tulane, the university, messed up my date on the poster that went up around campus. And so the place was half filled. There was a stand-up comedy class that semester, and they had roped off a huge section for the teacher and the students, and none of them came. Oh my! So I was like, this is the most Tulane shit ever. Of course.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Like exciting cities don't need stand-up. That's why fucking Bloomington, Indiana rules. That's why Madison rules. Yeah. Cause it's like, dude, this is fun and exciting. And in New Orleans, you're like, I'm going to go drink a hurricane and watch fights.
Yeah. I'll be laughing no matter what I do. Why would I pay for it?
Okay, man. And so also, have you read Confederacy of Dunces? I can't fucking get into this book. I can't.
It took me at Tulane, you almost had to. That I think I read it by my senior year, but everyone had a copy. It was just like, okay, there's no real plot. Just go.
It's like literally sitting up there. I've tried like 4 times, and every time I'm in New Orleans, I walk past the statue of that guy, and I'm like, oh, I got to try that book again, and I just can't fucking get into it.
Yeah, it's not, you don't need to. Okay, it's not that great. Yeah, you get it.
I'm gonna go burn it. I'm not even gonna throw it away.
Good.
So what all did you do when you were going to school in New Orleans? Were you like starting to like want to do comedy or?
No, I went to school. I wanted to be a novelist. And I really wanted to go going to a good school in New Orleans was the dream. I love the city, and I'd never even been there. I just like the idea of New Orleans thrilled me.
Me too, dude. Yes, I never left Iowa, but I was like, that seems like the coolest fucking place in the world.
It was like dark and mysterious and just like cool. And so I got in and didn't realize it was like so much more expensive than my second choice was Bloomington, was Indiana University. Yeah, and that would have been like a third of the money or a fifth of the money. And I was like, no, I want to go to New Orleans. So I had to do a work study program. I had to because my dad didn't give me any money. I get like $100 a month, and that went to beer. And so I got a job where I called students from 6 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock at night, people who had taken the SATs. And if you check that box of like, I want information from other schools, Tulane would say, if you're within this range, we want to talk to you. So we get their names, and I have to call people. And so if you're on the East Coast, I could be calling your daughter at like 10 o'clock at night to talk to her about a college you've never heard of. And I would just get yelled at by parents. They'd be like, why do you want to talk to my daughter? And I'd be like, I'm talking to her about the University of Tulane if she has any questions. And they'd be like, what's that? Who is this? Is this Rick? And I'd be like, oh my God, I got to stop. I got to stop doing this. So I did that for like a year, and it was just painful.
Yeah, painful. That's cold calling to come to a college is weird. I already don't like Iowa calling me asking for money. I can't imagine them calling me to come there.
Yeah. No one ever knew what the school was. It was weird.
And you're a student. It's not like you're an alumni.
Yeah, I can't tell. I'm like, I've been here 3 months. I don't know what to tell you, but it's a cool place.
I'll tell you what, these bars do not close. Your daughters will love it here.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tulane, and I'm glad my brother went, but I would never let my sister or like if I had a daughter, I would never let my daughter go to Tulane, ever. Ever. Yeah.
I mean, it's a wild city. Yeah. I went and also the food's so good, but if you're poor, you can't afford the good food. So you're just eating like terrible fried sandwiches. I was just there long enough one time to like film this thing. And by the end of it, I ate at a Subway as a fuck you to New Orleans. I was just like, I just want normal food. I can't have any more shrimp. Yeah. And that's dope. So what else did you do in New Orleans? Like, what did you do after that?
In New Orleans, I think I had a job as a busboy at a restaurant that was near campus. Like I never had a car, so I had to find places I could walk to or take the streetcar to. And I was a busboy until like Mardi Gras came up. And Mardi Gras is like a bonanza for workers. Like if you're in the service industry, it's amazing. But I wanted to party. I was a junior in high school. And so I said, like, can anyone cover my shifts? And they fired me immediately, like weeks out of before Mardi Gras. And then my last job in New Orleans was one of my favorite jobs I've ever had, was working as a doorman for Rick's Cabaret strip club on Bourbon Street.
Okay.
I wore a suit and tie. I tried to get a barback job there, and the guy who was in charge of door guys was a Tulane grad. I was like, oh, cool. Like you're at Tulane now. I'll hire you. And I just worked the front door and just like took cover charges and ID'd people and dealt with the drunkest people you've ever seen. Yeah. And then had to deal with like strippers bullshit like behind the scenes. And I just thought this is like the most fun job I've ever had. Yeah, you learn how to talk to people when you got to deal with people on Bourbon Street.
Also, when you're 22 wanting to be a novelist, you're like, I'm in it. I'm learning about people, you know, like,
you wanted to get into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like saying yes just to like, you know, like, oh man, what would fucking Hunter S. Thompson do? He'd get in there, man.
Yeah. You need the experience. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're taking journalism school there. Like you want to be like just a novelist. What the fuck happens that you go down this comedy path?
I wanted to be a certain kind of novelist. You know, I wanted to be like an instantly famous. I loved Bret Easton Ellis, like American Psycho, and I found out that he had published God damn, what's the name of that book? Not Rules of Attraction, but Less Than Zero, while he was still in college. So it's like, that's what I want to do. And I was taking creative writing, and I realized I wasn't like a genius. Like that wasn't going to happen for me. And everyone was like, you're ripping off Bret Easton Ellis. You're doing his style. You need to get better. And I just got frustrated and decided that I wanted to live a better life than a novelist's life. Like novelists, like you're just at home, like in front of your computer, typing away, something no one wants to read. The comedy seemed like you can be proactive. You know, you can write at home and then go out and you're being social and trying these things out in front of a crowd as opposed to like getting someone to read it and being like, I like this, you know, that I didn't like that part of it. So yeah, comedy just was like a natural progression from stand-up or from writing novels.
So did you first go up in New Orleans or did you leave?
No, I left. I went to LA. I had a friend who.
Why did you come to LA? Like, were you just like, that's where I want to go to, like maybe write TV or just like?
No, I really had no idea what I was going to do. And I had a friend in New Orleans who went to UCLA. He was like my year, but at UCLA. And he was like, I work at this movie studio. I'll get you guys an internship. Me and my best friend, the guy I do the podcast with now, we moved out here after college, just figuring out what we were going to do, and got an internship for a few months, reading scripts, answering phones.
Ooh, any fun scripts that stand out? Like,
no, they were all terrible. And like everyone knew they were bad. Like it was called Hallway Pictures, and it was this guy named Paul Hall who had produced like the Shaft remake and a bunch of other movies. And he was looking, I think the only movie they ever made was like a year after I left, they made Johnson Family Vacation. It was like a reboot, like a Cedric the Entertainer reboot of Vacation. That all the scripts were like, this guy's brother was killed by a gang and he's getting revenge, and he'd be like, I hate that shit. Or it'd be like, this guy's the first black scuba diver, and he'd be like, nope, I don't want to do first black anything. Like, give me a movie. Yeah, and it was really fun, and he gave me the best advice ever. When he would get scripts about slavery a lot, and he just one day I'm like, Paul, this is terrible, and he goes, Anthony, let me tell you something. And he bangs his desk for like emphasis. He goes, white people don't want to sit in a movie theater for 2 hours and listen to how fucked up they are. I thought that was like the funniest thing ever. That whenever I see like Amistad or something, I'm like, good luck. Yeah. Like, good luck with that.
I mean, that's what Trump's saying right now. You know, he's like, we don't want to learn about any of this. We're perfect. Like,
yeah.
Don't learn about history, man. It sucks.
I mean, I remember that like those who are like don't learn their history are doomed to repeat it. Now it's like, why would you want to learn that shit? Like, I can't believe it.
No, fucking batshit nuts. So you're there, you're reading scripts, and then like you realize, how do you find comedy?
So I was like, I'm reading scripts. And then the internship is over, and they hire my best friend and not me for like the job. So I'm like, I've got to find something else. Mm-hmm. And for months I'm looking, and I finally get a job at Borders Books. Okay. And I'm wandering. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm just wandering around. And
one out like Westwood, the one in by UCLA.
No, it was on La Cienega and like near Beverly. It's like across from Beverly Center. It's not there. It's been gone for 20 years. Right. But I worked there for a while, and they had a book on how to do stand-up comedy. It was like the shortest book they had, because they've got like that like Judy Carter comedy Bible. You know, it's like huge. It was like a thin book by a guy named Greg Dean. And my dad's friend from Notre Dame. He went to Notre Dame. His friend was Jay Leno's head writer on The Tonight Show. Oh, so my dad's like, you know what? Meet with this guy, and he'll try to give you some advice on comedy writing. And this guy's name was Jimmy Brogan, and he said, if you want to become a comedy writer, do stand up, because instead of writing your jokes down and being like, here, you can just tell them to people, and it kind of gets you better at writing jokes. And I thought, okay. And I read this book at Borders, and then I think I got fired from Borders, and I just had some time on my hands. And at the end of the book, it says this guy teaches a class in Santa Monica. And so I signed up $350 for a 6-week class and just went every week. And it kind of taught you the basics. You know, what you would learn at an open mic after 3 months, I knew before I went in. And then you just kind of figured out your first 7 minutes and went from there.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's, we have cynical comedy pals who are like, fuck classes. The streets are where it's at. And I'm very pro, like, if you're nervous, you don't know how to get up, take a class. They'll put you on stage.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It just doesn't do anything. It doesn't you don't get to skip the line because you took a class.
No.
You still have to do all the same open mics and everything, but you kind of have a little bit of a head start in that, like, your first time on stage isn't an open mic where you're just bombing. My first time I thought I killed. And I went back and watched it because, like, I did I think the roast of Donald Trump, I did one of the first jokes I ever wrote.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, maybe there's other gems in there. And I watched it and had a panic attack. Like, it was so embarrassing to watch your first stand-up set that I had sent to all my friends and family stupidly. It's just humiliating.
Oh man, when I moved out here from Iowa, I sent in, a 5-minute set from Penguins and Cedar Rapids to Eric Abrams, who was booking the Improv. And he was so fucking nice. He emailed me back and he goes, hey man, don't send this out. He's like, look, you seem nice. I'm just going to give a bit of advice. This isn't what you want people to see.
That's the best advice you can give someone. It's like, not yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get people on Twitter being like, hey, would you watch my set? I'm like, you don't want me to see your set. You don't want it. Like, no, wait years.
Yes, exactly. It was great. That's so fucking great. So you do that. And I mean, I didn't know, like, you started in LA and that you were like an LA comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, you just going to open mics, like, you just had to get good fast. And I didn't know you weren't supposed to start in LA or New York. I didn't know that. And like, I moved here before I got into stand up, so it wouldn't have mattered. I couldn't really move at that point. And I just go to as many open mics as I could, until things started kind of rolling for me. But it was tough, man. I had no money. I looked like I was rich, but I had nothing.
Yeah. Where were you living?
I was living on, I think most of the time I was here, because I moved to New York for a couple of years after like 7 years in LA. And I lived most of it on Sierra Bonita and Santa Monica. You know what, that like Astro Burger and Fat Burger are right next to each other? Yeah. I lived like right there.
Yeah, it's where like my friend Andrew Santino lived forever. And it is not a fun place to live.
No. It was central. I could get to the clubs, get to open mics. It was pretty easy.
You could get to the 3 clubs very easily. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I could walk to the Improv.
Yeah, because when I first moved into Hollywood, I was like, I want to be able to walk to the Improv. And then once I realized, like, all the shows I really like are not really in this neighborhood, I can leave here? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you're doing comedy, you're coming up, it's getting better. What are you doing for money during that time? Like,
I was struggling hard, and luckily, like, I'm sure you had this position where you're trying to get these jobs, these entry-level jobs, and you're like, God, I would kill my own mother to get this writer's assistant on a reality TV show job for this pilot. Like, it would kill. And then I realized afterwards, and I would obviously never got it. I never became a writer's assistant, but I realized if I'd ever gotten that job, I would have quit the business because I wouldn't have been able to go out and do stand-up at night. At least having no money, you could go and do stand-up and write all day. And my best friend at the time, he got a job. He got a job as an NBC page. Remember, like, the NBC pages, it's almost like a floater at NBC who's kind of figuring things out. Mm-hmm. And he takes my resume to try to get me a job as a driver for NBC, but I didn't have a California license. And so it's just sitting on his desk, and somebody came by, and there was a TV show called American Dreams. And they needed someone with accounting experience, and I had been a business minor. And so they gave me the job. It was supposed to be 3 weeks, and I stretched it into like 12. And then I got into the unemployment system. Oh. Where if you're working on a TV show, everyone gets laid off at the same time. It's like 6 months of work, you make a bunch of money, and then you're laid off, and everyone gets unemployment. So for 6 months, it was like my job was to be a comedian. And then so when the 6 months was up, you were fucked. Like, you had no money. You weren't making any money. You just felt like you were because you were getting checks. And then I had jobs like I worked at, my friend got me a job as a teacher's assistant at a high school for emotionally troubled kids. I got fired 4 weeks in.
Okay.
They told me it was like having an extra emotionally troubled teenager in the room. They just didn't understand sarcasm. I'd try to be funny and the cool one, and they hated me. Yeah. I would start fights by like talking trash, and they're like, "You've got to go."
Dude, no. Yes.
So that led me to like my most embarrassing job ever, working at ArcLight Cinemas. I got fired from the school. It was embarrassing for this reason. Okay. Because I was coming up as a comedian. Mm-hmm. So I was like literally behind the counter, and someone like, "I'd like a large popcorn, and you were really funny at Largo last night opening for Sarah Silverman." And I was just like, this is so embarrassing. Like, if you didn't know who I was, cool. But if you'd seen me do stand-up, it was like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? So for like 3 months, I had to do that.
Have you talked to Jonah Ray about his experience?
Jonah and I worked there together. No, we worked, Jonah was still there when I left.
Okay.
He'd just gotten hired right as I was leaving. So yeah, we kind of overlapped. And so we both knew, exactly what that job was.
Yeah, because I mean, that's like, you know, the ArcLight is wherever. It's just, if you don't know, the ArcLight is just like on Sunset Boulevard. It's like, it's a great movie theater. I mean, it's owned by Scientology. Yeah, you look past it. But it's like everyone goes there. I'm sure that when you work there, like you saw some famous fucking people come in to see movies.
Oh, constantly, all the time. I remember people you wouldn't really notice unless someone like got in your face. Like I remember sitting there, I was like, I'm working the fucking cash register for the gift shop. And the gift shop is the worst job at ArcLight. You would get like one shift a week. It was the only shift you actually had to do something. Yeah. You had to like accomplish something. Otherwise you could just run around. And I'm sitting there getting yelled at by like some woman who's with Scarlett Johansson. And I just can't take my eyes off Scarlett Johansson, who's like, looks like a normal person wearing a baseball cap. And then while her like mom or manager or agent yells at me over the temperature in the lobby, as if this like $6 an hour employee could fucking like hop on the thermostat and change it for everybody while she's about to leave. And I just like this is so embarrassing. We're like Christie Alley's friend running up to me and grabbing me by the shoulders and going, "Where is she?" And I'm like, "What, who?" And she goes, "Kirstie Alley?" And I was like, "I haven't seen her." And she like didn't believe me. Like people just acted so entitled and weird that you didn't want celebrities to come in.
Oh, man.
It was annoying.
Dude, that's incredible. And then
my favorite story ever of ArcLight. There was a guy named Mike Ruffin who was an open mic comic at the time.
Right.
And one day, who was in the movie? It's Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway comes to ArcLight and she's like all regal and royal, and she walks up and orders a coffee. He's working the coffee cart. Okay. She's like, "Oh, one coffee, please." And he pours it and he goes, "It's on the house." And you see her like light up. She's like, "Oh, thank you." And he goes, "Yeah, it's been sitting there forever." And her face just falls, and she like goes to see her movie and throws it away. I was like, God, that was great to see.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Oh man, yeah. My friend Barry Rothbard and I would go. He had this trick that he got busted, so he stopped. So at the ArcLight, you can go around. If you take the escalators down, it takes you directly into whatever movie theater one is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And you don't have to see a ticket taker. And so me and Barry would just go, and we were broken. We would just see, we were like, we have to see whatever's playing in movie theater one because it's free. And one time he got really high and we took the escalators down and he got cocky. We got too cocky with our free movie. And he was like, "I'm going to go get some popcorn." And then he walked over to get popcorn and soda. And they came over, they're like, "Do you have a ticket?" And he's past the ticket line and he's just so high and scared. He goes, "I just came for the soda." And then he walked out of the ArcLight. Yeah. Like, I parked at the parking lot, came in here so I could have movie soda.
Best popcorn in town.
Yeah.
I had to get it.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
Dude,
no one there ever cared. No one in ArcLight ever would have busted you for sneaking into a movie. No one cared.
Right. Okay. What was the biggest? And then we'll move. We'll get wrapping up. But like, what was the biggest movie that came out when you were at ArcLight that you were like, whoa? Because I worked at a movie theater, and for me it was Harry Potter 3. Like that was just, I was like, everyone needs to calm down.
There was a Harry Potter that I had to deal with where like in the morning they would pack out the dome. It's like 500 seats, all kids with their parents. And it was free popcorn and soda for whatever deal they got. And like not only canning that out, but then like cleaning it up afterwards was hell on earth. Yeah. I think Kill Bill 2 came out when I first started, and I was only there for a few months, but that was a huge one. Spider-Man 2, I think, came out while I was doing that.
Yeah.
And then Shrek. There was like Shrek 2. Where they put Shrek ears on the dome and we were all embarrassed. That was tough. That sucked.
I remember when they made the Dome a Minion, and I took like my girlfriend, like her her nephews or something were visiting, and I was like, "You guys want to go look at a big Minion?" And they loved it, so it worked out.
Yeah.
All right, so but now you're doing good at comedy. Like, you're doing these jobs. You head to New York for what? To get better, or you're just like, I need to be in New York for my comedy. That's like where it's at for me.
What happened, I think, was that I left ArcLight and I went to go work on Deadwood as an accounting clerk, and then went from Deadwood to a show called The Unit.
Okay.
And then the writer's strike happened, where like as a accountant, I got laid off, and every stand-up comic who's working in TV had to go on the road. So that was when guys like Doug Benson and Brian Posehn would take me on the road to open for them, and then I never looked back. Okay. I never went back to I was a feature act, so I'd be like, if these shows get canceled for some reason, I can't pay my rent this month. Like I would do 4 weekends a month, and I needed that money. Luckily, I worked with guys who would pay for like my flight and hotel. These guys who don't, you're like, that's bullshit.
No, I know. That's why like a lot of my friends are like, hey, my buds are like, dude, can I like come open for you? I'm like, dude, I honestly like, I need them. I'm not making a ton as a headliner, and I'm not going to ask you to pay for your flight. Yeah, I gotta go with the local dudes. But I have a buddy Carl he's like, oh, my parents have a bunch of airline monies. I'm like, fucking dope. We'll share a hotel room. Incredible. Yes, that's right. I prefer this, but I'm never going to make a feature pay and put themselves up because they're not making enough.
Exactly. It's like you've got to make $100 a show at least, that and not lose anything on top of that. That I never wanted somebody who had to sell T-shirts. So I'll take care of you the way I was taken care of. Yeah. But you use a local if you can't afford to fly somebody out.
Exactly. Then you just fucking fingers crossed they're not weird as hell.
I know. I got lucky that I only had to do one weekend where I just showed up to be the feature, and I didn't know who the headliner was, and I lucked out. It was like a cool guy, and it was a pretty good weekend. But as an MC, I remember doing a gig in Vegas, my first ever road gig, where I thought, I can't do comedy. Like I was going, and like the guys who followed me were the hackiest guys I've ever seen in my life, and they would destroy. Yeah. And I just bombed 2 shows a night for 7 nights. Oof. That it was like the worst week of my life.
Yeah, that's rough. See, I was MC. I never featured ever, not once, but I MC'd like in Iowa, just hosting, Penguins, and I like Penguins, but seeing what was working there was a big, I got to get the fuck out of here type of move. And then also I was like, guys like Pete Holmes and like TJ Miller and Kumail were like in Chicago coming to do University of Iowa shows. So I would go see those guys. I would go ask as a student being like, hey, would you like someone to go up and bomb before you go do good? And they're all like, yes, that sounds incredible. So then I got to see them through that. And that was when I was like, oh, I got to get to one of these cities.
Yeah, you need something that you can see that's cool comedy. Yeah. And here we had like Comedy Bang Bang. I don't know if you remember that. Comedy Death Ray for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I got here, the hang was Tiger Lily.
Okay.
That's like
I'm sorry for you.
I mean, I liked that there was 35 comics going up and nobody was doing that good, but we're all hanging out in the kitchen. Like, it was just exciting. Like, you would come on and like, I'm like, I know that guy from TV, and it was just like, just being around comics who, when you're new, who are professionals is like fucking dope that you're gonna be like, I'm on the same show as them and I'm like getting, laughs. Like it was just like it just helps a lot, when that's happening.
Yeah. Especially seeing someone you like bomb, it's like the most inspiring thing ever. You're like, holy shit, that guy's like a god, and he just ate it.
Yeah,
that I can do this.
Yeah, seeing someone you love bomb is you're right. There's no better feeling because you're like, they're really good, and these guys suck. Yeah, the audience, man. One time I went up after Dan Soder bombed. Mm-hmm. And I yelled at the audience about how funny Dan was and then tried to do my own set. And they're like, no, fuck you too.
Yeah, you shot yourself in the foot right away.
Yeah. Okay, but let's get to like how, because I do want to just hear about how you got to roast the current president of the United States. Like, how does that happen? Because those roasts were like, were huge. I mean, they were fucking, I was obsessed with them. They were fucking great.
I called them the Super Bowl of comedy. Like I almost wrote my act when I was starting out because I wanted to be on a roast one day, either write for them or be on them. And so I went out to New York and I wrote on Fallon for a year. And by the time I left Fallon, I was headlining. I recorded an album, and I moved back to LA to write for the roast of David Hasselhoff.
Okay.
And while I'm writing for that, I'm doing really well. And they're like, maybe we should put Anthony on this one. But I wasn't a name. I wasn't famous at all. So they're like, nope, not this one. He'll get to do the next one.
Okay.
And then that ended up, it was supposed to be Kid Rock. And then Kid Rock bailed. And so they got Donald Trump. And I was like, this is amazing. This will be the best fucking thing ever. And it really was. Like, it was like Trump. And he, at the time, he was a bit of a joke. And you couldn't hurt him. You know what I mean? You could say the meanest shit and it did not affect him at all. And no one would feel bad. It was just the best feeling in the world.
And then he's just there. He's a big fucking idiot. Like, before he was president, he was just a smiling buffoon. Like,
yeah, this was him trying to pivot. He was saying he was going to run for president at the time. So he's trying to look presidential. He's sitting up there, like, kind of staring straight ahead. Like, he's thinking that if they make all the jokes now, then I'm bulletproof. Mm-hmm. And they had to go to him and say, listen, Mr. Trump, if you laugh, the camera cuts to you after the joke. The more you laugh, the more you're on camera. And he goes, got it. And then he was like laughing at everything, being cool. And on that roast, I went after the Situation who had bombed. Remember Mike Sorrentino, the Situation?
I remember this
from Jersey Shore.
Yes,
he ate it so hard, and he went right before me. So it was like, how are we going to get this night back? And they had to like stop everything for 10 minutes to let the crowd calm down. It was so much worse when they showed it. And so I'm laughing, and then I'm like, wait, I'm next. And so Trump was actually like cool to me. He was like, thank you for getting the show back on track.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, maybe he's cool. And the next day he's like, where's Obama's birth certificate? And I was like, oh God. But it is nice now because I can avoid talking about it. You know, I feel like so many comics now are like throwing their lives away, just like yelling at the president for 4 years. I'm just like, I did it. I got it early. I got out early.
Right. Dude, I was texting my friend the other day just about like how much I hope he dies so we get to be funny again. Like, I just want to be funny again. Like, I don't want to have to talk about it. I don't have to hear about it. Get rid of it. Just let's go back to comedy.
Yes. I mean, people saying this is going to be good for comedy. It's like, no.
Anybody who says this is good for, like, but this makes your job easy. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure your job's easy when a tractor runs over your factory. It's not fun. It's like all you can talk about. You got to talk about this tractor.
Well, people love to say on the roast, they'd be like, oh, you're roasting Donald Trump? That should be easy. I'm like, oh, is it? Like, give me a joke about Donald Trump that's not about his hair or his skin color right now. Like, give me something that's like original and new. Like Charlie Sheen, that must be fun and easy. No, it is not. The guy that everyone in the country's made a joke about already. Like, I get him now. Yeah, like, it's a hard job, man.
And then also then the roasts like turned into like, I feel like the roast, like you were doing them when I was watching them. I don't watch them anymore because I feel like, kind of it became its own like subculture of comedy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like to where there were comics coming up who started and before they were trying to be funny, were trying to roast. And I'm like, no, you got to get funny before you can be mean.
Yes. Exactly. I think a lot of people didn't realize that. But yeah, it became too big and the guests started getting weirder. Like Twitter, the Trump roast was the first roast where if you bombed, people knew about it.
Yeah.
In the roast before Trump, if you bombed, they just cut you out. And before your commercial, they'd show you like telling a story. But with the Trump roast, the Situation bombs and everyone knows about it immediately on Twitter. So they had to use it and promote the show that way. So now people are scared, like celebrities are scared, not just to come on and get made fun of, but to come on and bomb. And so it really changed the caliber of celebrity you got. Charlie Sheen kind of had to do it. And that was like the nadir of roasts. They never got ratings that high again. They kept messing with making it classier. They kept thinking they were going to get George Clooney. And it's like, that's not going to happen. And I did 3. I did Trump, Sheen, and Roseanne. And I was like, I'm done with this forever. I love judging roast battle. I love judging it. But then I get sick of watching it because all these young comics just like putting so much into these roast jokes. You're like, this doesn't do anything at all for you. Like, you get funny, get good on stage, and then come do this as a side thing, as a side hustle.
I think I only hosted, I only like did one of the judge ones at the Belly Room, and like the other judge was Moshe. And it's its own culture that's so bizarre to me that I had never seen one in the Belly Room. And there was a guy who was in the crowd, and his whole bit was he was racist. And he would say the N-word. And I just remember Moshe stopping the show and going, this is for this man. how do you see this propelling your career forward? And like, that's all that stood out was just Moshe being like, what are you doing, man? This is nuts. Like, yeah. But yeah, you did it. You got into that sweet spot and you got out. It was fucking dope. And then you had your fun show and now you have your podcast.
Yes, the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project. My best friend I was talking about. We went to college together, met there, came out to LA together. He's an analyst for the NFL Network, and he has his own podcast like about the NFL. And I was like, oh, we should do one as kind of a joke together. And now we're like 70 episodes in, and just moved to All Things Comedy a few weeks ago. So it's
I like
part of the family.
Yeah, they're chill. They let me have a camping show where we just get real drunk, and it's I don't know how they're making money. Well, I guess Bill Burr, probably helps them make some money in his podcast, but they waste some of it on me, which I appreciate.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, they're cool.
Well, Andy, I mean, I guess the like main thing that I always try to like connect is like when you felt like you were going to make it in comedy. Like, do you know like the moment where you're like, I think that this is going to work out? Like I've like I don't think I'll have to go back and have a job again.
I mean, I was so dark immediately that I was like, can I ever get on TV? Is this character that I play, like, is this just unfilmable? Which would have been cool in its way, but they're like, no. So like getting Premium Blend from Comedy Central was like everyone's first gig for a while until they got rid of that show. And so then I was like, oh, and I did well at that. When my parents came to see me for the first time in that taping, and they said they thought I was bad. And then all the comics they loved were coming up to me afterwards and telling me how amazing I was. And they were like, oh. So that was really like a big moment of like, I got on TV, I didn't choke, I got on it, like I did well enough that I can make a living doing this. And then the Trump roast took me from, I'm headlining a comedy club, but everyone's coming to see comedy and not me.
That's where
everyone's coming to see me.
Yeah.
That was the big move. It was just like I remember doing, I think, the Kansas City, Stanford and Sons in Kansas City, and just a terrible weekend. And the next weekend, the Trump roast happened. And the weekend after that, I was at the St. Louis Funny Bone, just sold out crowds. And they were just like, couldn't wait for me to be mean. And it was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy this and not just be like suffering through weekends,
Incredible, man. That's so fucking dope. Awesome. I really appreciate you doing the pod. And I know that you, and also I'll put a link to your podcast in this episode description if anybody wants to check it out. And I know that you're a huge fan of my podcast. You listen to every episode, and I always let the guest take us out.
And we are out of here.
Okay.
Hi, this is Brendan.
And Amanda.
And we're from the World Record Podcast.
World Record! Follow this one step to listen to our podcast.
Here it is.
Step one. We can have lots of fun.
We make phone calls.
How can I help you?
I'm looking for spicy baby food.
You're talking baby food like for little babies, like children?
Yeah, and spicy.
No.
Celebrity guests.
Hello?
Is this Urkel?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Drew Carey. Is this Josh Gad?
Oh, yeah, it's Josh Gad. Mm-hmm.
Ted Danson on the line?
Hey, how's it going?
So get out there and listen to the World Record Podcast.
On your tablet or cell phone, the
time is right.
Don't you know that the time is right?
We're not really talking about going to the bathroom on the lanes, are we?
Yeah.